All right. Thank you also for so much for joining us. My name is Addison Welsh, and I'm the Internship and Experiential Learning Manager with Career and Professional Development. And I am so excited for you all to join. We have a wonderful group of panelists today. They're going to chat through their experience with their HubSpot micro internships. And so, without further ado, let's jump into some of our questions. And so, Victoria, I'd love to start with you. Can you just tell us a little bit more? Introduce yourself. What's your degree? And then also, why did you choose WGU?
Sure. My name is Victoria Palacios. I'm out of San Antonio, Texas. I'm currently pursuing my bachelor's in marketing. And what inspired me to join WGU is one, I have a few coworkers that have done WGU, and I just like the setup of it, being able to go at your own pace, no matter how fast, how slow, whatever the case may be. It's a lot when you're working and doing everything else at the same time. So I love the fact that WGU has that opportunity to go at your own pace and still have a lot of resources for you as well.
That's great. And Shay, if you'd like to introduce yourself, thank you so much, Victoria.
Yeah, sure. My name is Shay Morgan, and I am a MBA student, a Master's of Business Administration. Um, I chose WGU because of the flexibility, to be honest. I am also a full-time worker and a mom and a ton of other things. So it fit best with my schedule. And I was looking forward to more self-paced. I could kind of control how I can fit the classes and the study within my actual day and my calendar. So it allowed me to still pursue, my ambition without feeling like I have to put a pause on my life to continue on things that I wanted to do better to my career path.
That's wonderful. Thank you. And Alyssa?
Hi, I'm Melissa. I'm pursuing my master's in digital marketing. I chose WGU because honestly, my friend mentioned it to me that she wanted to go for her master's in digital marketing, and I was like, I have a bachelor's in communication, like in media studies, and I was like, I've been looking to go back. I just didn't know what or like what exactly I wanted to go into the workforce first to see what I'm into before committing to school. So once you mentioned it to me and like kind of the flexibility that helps with my work schedule since every day is different, it's kind of hard to plan for school. So that's the reason why I chose WGU. And so far I had a great experience being able to do the internship, meet some of the people and being able to network.
Love that. That's always good to hear. And Sierra?
Hi, I'm Sierra. I am a master's student, getting my master's in digital marketing. I chose WGU for the same reasons as most panelists have already discussed. Definitely, Shay with the flexibility of, fitting this into day-to-day life. And also Alyssa with the friend mentioning it. I definitely had a friend that was like, I graduated with WGU, and she was, I believe she was a single mom with 2 children at the time, and she figured it out, and I was like, "Look, if you can do it, I can do it." So, I enrolled and never looked back, and it's been a great experience. I've loved it.
That's incredible. I was just thinking the other day, just, thinking even like 20 years ago or so, how, if you want to take more classes, usually they were evening classes, and just how access to education has opened up so much more with online education. So love to hear that. Love to hear you're having good experiences with WGU too. And so Sierra, we're going to stay here with you. Can you give us a high level overview of the micro internship experience?
Sure. So the HubSpot marketing AI micro internship is a hands-on learning experience that connects students with real companies to build and manage live marketing campaigns. Over just a few weeks, interns gain experience in like content creation, email marketing, lead nurturing, and workflow automation, all within inside of HubSpot's CRM platform. We collaborate directly with clients. We apply the AI-driven marketing strategies and deliver measurable results that make an impact. So it's not just training, it's real world marketing experience powered by HubSpot.
I love that. It's pretty incredible though. I think also just I've heard from many students that have participated in this as well, is just like having that knowledge of these AI tools has really set them apart from candidates and maybe some of the job offers or job opportunities that they've applied to. And so pretty incredible, but you can actually walk away with some tangible skills. All right. Victoria, we're going to hand it over to you. So how did you first learn about the HubSpot micro internship and what made you decide to apply?
So I actually learned about it. It was kind of a fluke. I logged in to do some of my schoolwork and, the little megaphone up at the top of your student portal. I always click on those notifications and I saw HubSpot internship, went in, looked at it, and it just sounded like a really good opportunity to get some hands-on experience, which I tend to learn best with. And so that's what prompted me to apply, and so glad that I did because it was a great experience.
That's great. Good to hear too that those microphones are actually really effective as well. Because I know we also send out emails too, but good to know that that helps. That was great. Thank you. All right, Shay, can you tell us a little bit about, before you started your internship, what were you most excited about, or maybe even just a little bit nervous about?
I was most excited about working with real life clients and just working with marketing in general. I have more of an operational background. So I was looking at this as an opportunity to kind of maybe pivot my career path. So just give you more hands on exposure. With that being said, I was nervous because I didn't have much marketing background, and just feeling like maybe doubting myself that I wouldn't be able to bring any value to it because I didn't have interest and or experience rather in that background. Um, but overall, I think I came out learning more and helped me become more confident in myself and taking chances and open up to different, opportunities to see. Just help build confidence overall. It's just short-term project. So I kind of overthought it really a lot. It's like literally it's only 2, 3 months out of your life. It's not like the end of the world. But it was great exposure. So I'm really appreciative of the experience.
I really appreciate you sharing that though, because I think too, especially as we get further into our careers, I think we get, some people call it imposter syndrome.
Hmm.
We get maybe a little nervous about doing something that we've never done before. And so I love that people have had the courage to say, well, why not?
Yeah.
Did you, because you shared that you were a little nervous, like this isn't like doing that hands-on marketing tasks, if you will, wasn't something that you typically do in your daily role. Did you feel like the training really prepared you?
Yes, the training really prepared me, and the peer-to-peer connection also helped me as well, help build my confidence. And they give you the HubSpot facilitators offer a ton of different avenues for you to stay in connection with them. In the event you have any questions, that they're there to help ease any like angst that you may have going on throughout the project. So they're always there. And if you want to appear to tap into to understand, you have other students that can help you as well. We lift each other up through Slack and things like that.
Love to hear that. That's great.
Yeah.
And we have so many, the WGU students, I've worked at many institutions and all of you are just so incredible. And so that's really nice to know that you have that community and a great way too to expand your
Hmm.
professional network as well.
Yeah.
That's great. Thank you, Shay. So Alyssa, just thinking about that training, can you walk us through a little bit more what that looks like?
The training is I feel like it was a little bit harder for me just because I never used HubSpot in my everyday life. The training for well, when I did it was like the twice a week, Monday and Tuesday for like the first internship. I know that they have the advanced one, but that's for like the first one. It's 2 hours for each day, and then they have one office hour day, which you're not required to do, but it's highly recommended. I did go to every single one of them, and I felt like I did learn a lot. Even though it's online, you're always scared to ask questions. Even though people always tell you no question's a dumb question. I feel like they were able to be very hands-on and like they were very like personable and like very understanding. Ashley had mentioned like they're just easy to talk to the people in charge of it, and I feel like even though it's pretty intense, if you're not really half the time, I wouldn't recommend it at the moment. But if you're able to balance like your day-to-day life and do the internship, I highly recommend it. I feel like it changed my life. And I'm not just saying that. Like I'm not paid to say that. Like I feel like I have has a lot of opportunities after that, just being able to do the training and then having the recordings from the training. I'll listen to it on my way to work since it just conflicted with my life the times, and then like at night I would just like rewatch it, and I felt like I learned a lot. And they have a lot of like practice things you could do and like group activities. So I feel like that did help me a lot to prepare.
That's great. And yes, I'm not paying any of these panelists anything. And so these are true
That's why I was like, I'm not getting
testimonials.
paid. I promise. I'm like, I really did
I
enjoy it.
I really do love to hear that. And I think Cheyenne and Dan, the space they create too, it's very energetic, it's very positive, and also really, really engaging. And so I love to hear that that was your experience.
Yeah, and they're very
Um,
personable, which I feel like it's kind of
yes,
hard to find with any
yes,
job. Like, it's not a job, but it's like kind of a job. So I feel like it's very hard to find like very personable people. And it's
absolutely.
like they don't have to be nice and like give us extra time, or like try to be reasonable. But I feel like they're really great at like understand, like being very understandable, because they know we have full-time jobs, we have other priorities, but they're very understandable with like letting us. If we need a little bit extra time, if we're having any issues, they're really good at connecting with us right away to kind of resolve any issues we have.
I really love that you shared that. And I also love that that is also your experience, because I think sometimes we go into these opportunities and we think, oh, goodness, if something comes up, I'm just going to lose this opportunity. And it's wonderful to know that there is flexibility there.
Yeah, they have a lot
That's
of
great.
flexibility. They're to a limitation, of course, but they are very
Yes, of course.
flexible. If you
Yes,
have any
yes.
like personal issues arise,
And it happens. Life
oh my god,
happens.
it's life.
Well, thank you, Alyssa. All right, Sierra, we're going to come back to you. How did you find out which client you'd be working with, and what was the matching process like?
So through the HubSpot internship, I was matched with my client, Top Floor Mentoring. Um, and after completing, the HubSpot the training certificate. So we were matched with our clients via email. We were asked to fill out a survey. The survey asked us what would our preferences look like as far as top three clients we, be most interested in working with. And after that, they match your client to your preferences as best, as possible. And I enjoyed it. The client I matched with perfectly, went along with what I had requested. And yeah, and then after that, I got a detailed brief, I'm sorry, from the client that helped me understand her mission and target audience. And I got all of that before our first meeting.
That's very helpful, because then you're not just going in and you have no idea what to expect. That's great. Do you know if they do that for all the clients, or if is that something that your client just decided to do?
No, they meet with the clients before they match them with us, and they have just like we have a list of things that we are expected, requested, so are the clients. So the clients are prepared to welcome us to their team, as well as we are being prepared to onboard with their team and, create the marketing campaign that we are there for. So yes, all
Great.
clients do similar preparation.
Good. That's great to know. Just kind of helps prepare, as you start to have those conversations. Thank you. All right. So thinking about that client experience, Victoria, what was your experience like working with your client? And who was your client, if you don't mind sharing?
Sure. So I started off with a client, Bird's Eye Business Solutions, out of Canada, and she did a lot of bookkeeping, taxes, things like that. She also sent me, like a list of things that she wanted out of the internship from me, and we spoke. We had like an hour every week that we would meet via Zoom and just talk about what I was going to produce that week. In the middle of the internship, there was an email sent out asking if anybody would like to take on a second client. And so I did. I was like, sure, why not? I don't have enough to do. And so I got paired with a pair of, well, it's actually a group of guys called Lifestyle After Five. And they do a lot of newsletters, they do a lot of podcasting, vlogging, things of that sort. Now, since after the internship, I've actually continued to work with Lifestyle After Five, helping with podcasting and things like that. So both clients were really, really great. I still talk to the first one on occasion, and working with these guys is still really great. The experience has lasted a lot longer for me, which I appreciate.
That's great. We're going to stay here with you just because you had two clients, which is pretty rare. How did you and your clients communicate and collaborate during the project? And was it different kind of depending on the client?
Yeah, it really was. So there were two totally different industries. I got like accounting and bookkeeping on one side, and then the other side is all about lifestyle, every kind of lifestyle you could imagine, more entertainment side. So, but in terms of communicating with them, we set up like an hour a week, sometimes more, and we would Zoom call. A lot of emailing. I would, email and ask like, hey, I had this thought, I had this idea. What are your thoughts? So that's mainly how we would communicate. But I really preferred the Zoom calls simply because it's easier to speak in person and nothing gets lost in translation, when you're emailing or, chatting, anything like that.
That's great. Thank you so much. All right, Alyssa, we're going to come back to you. Were there any challenges that you had to overcome in working with a real client?
Um, I I feel like I was very grateful. I didn't really have challenges. I feel like the main challenge, what for me personally, just because of my personality, is I need a little bit more detail. My client, he's based off the UK. He's a software consulting, Wakestart LLC. He was trying to. His goal for me was to do more like social media posts using AI and blog posts to like kind of get more clientele over here in the States. He was very easy to work with, great guy. My only negative is he was broad. Like he didn't have any specific detail for me, which is a blessing and a curse. Cause I have a lot of freedom, but then again, I have too much freedom. Cause I'm like, what are you looking for exactly? When they gave us the paper of like, okay, ask them like their target audience, he was like everyone. I was like, okay, we're not able to do everyone. Like, I need kind of like a target just for I can know who I'm like, who's my demographic, because you can't target everyone with one post realistically. And then when I would send him any like projects, he would just be like, oh, yeah, it's perfect. And so I had no critique, which is kind of hard because like I'm like, yes, I love it. Glad you love it, but I also want to grow professionally. So like I promise I told him like I promise I won't be offended. I won't get hurt. Like if you want me to change something, like just let me know. Like I have no issue doing it. So I feel like just working with a client, e- some people I know had difficult clients where it was hard to communicate with them, and mine was he was great. He was quick, but kind of vague for me for my preference. Just being able to like learn how to communicate better, like professionally, and just being able to know what questions to ask your client is very important. And I feel like doing this internship did allow me to learn how to communicate more professionally with a one-on-one client versus my current job of like talking to different departments and talking to different people every day. I feel like just working with a client who is very vague, like I mentioned, blessing and a curse, but I did grow a lot from him.
I think that's such a good reminder though, because I think sometimes when you're in that situation, you might be a little anxious or just, not sure that you should ask those questions. But you're right. I mean, I think in this space too, just remembering like you are the expert, right? And giving that just that feedback of, well, we can't target everyone, and kind of pushing them
Not with
along.
one
So that's
post.
yeah. So that's great. Just, just as a gentle reminder, asking clarifying questions and also just sharing that knowledge that you have. That's great.
Yeah, I'm like, don't be scared. I'm like, worst thing is to tell you no. That's always my motto. I'm like, worst thing is you ask a question and tell you no. You move on. And I feel like
Exactly.
working with a client, they won't tell you no, but they might tell you to scratch it and be like, oh, we can't use that after all, just for like legal stuff. Like if they have any partnerships. But I'm like, okay, that's fine. Just let me know what I need. And if you're
Yes.
able to provide it to me, that'd be great. And we could move along a lot quicker and like generate a lot more product for you.
Hmm. That's a good reminder too. Yeah. The more I think clear they are in their requests. Absolutely. All right. We're going to toss it over to Sierra here. So what tools or platforms did you use during this micro internship experience?
Yeah, so throughout the project, I used, of course, HubSpot CRM. I also used Canva for some visuals. We used the Google Workspace to collaborate and deliver, the results. So yeah, it was HubSpot, Canva, and Google Workspace.
That's great. And I think we've heard that Slack was mentioned a few times. And can you tell me a little bit
Oh,
more about that?
Yes, I apologize. Slack was one of our foundational things we used to just keep us all, moving in the same pace, on the same accord as far as like interns, and then HubSpot and what they, were expecting of us. We also ask questions as previously mentioned. Absolutely do not be afraid to ask questions, reach out, ask more than one question. If you don't understand, keep asking until you gain understanding. But the Slack channels were definitely there. We cheered each other on, we encouraged each other, we asked to answer questions, we communicated through the whole process. We connected on LinkedIn through sharing our links, within the Slack channels. Yeah, Slack is definitely foundational as well.
I love that. It kind of creates almost like your little culture too of the team as well, and just get to know the other WGU students as well. That's great. Thank you, Sierra. All right, Shay. I think we've heard it time and time again. One of the reasons that you all came to WGU was because you needed that flexibility. And
Yeah.
so adding a micro internship, I'm sure that you didn't necessarily have all the time in the world just to add 20 more hours a week, if you will. So how did you balance, your internship with those other responsibilities that you had?
Oh, I thrive off of chaos, so it's totally fine. No, calendars. Merging my calendars and utilizing, I mean, it's an AI internship, right? So I thought this would be a perfect opportunity for me to utilize artificial intelligence as well as an administrative assistant. So merging my calendars, blocking it out, utilizing the Book Me feature really helped. And from a personal perspective, I did have a conversation with my family first to let them know, like, hey, I'm going to be also doing this. So when the doors closed or I'm not available here, just so they have an understanding. I have children, so I also decided to just bribe them a little bit with giving them some of my stipend when I finish, when I'm done. So that kind of helped them not bother me. But yeah, just making sure, I want to say, make sure your calendars and utilizing any downtime that I had. So writing out what I had to do that specific day and seeing how I can kind of plug in and kind of do some dual things at the same time to maximize my time.
That's great. Are you a fan of to-do lists then?
Oh, yes. Google Task I
Okay. I
used
was
a
going to
lot.
ask. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. There's just so many platforms out there, so it's really great to hear just kind of the different things that you've used. Um, Very helpful. Interesting about merging the calendars. That's great. And the Book Me feature that was really helpful as well.
Yes.
And the
Yes.
bribing, of course. The bribing is also very helpful too.
I was paired with another student on my internship. So having the book me calendar really worked for us because she was also working as well. So I told her to just add it to her email so we can just find, times for us without having to go back and forth through email. Say, hey, is this time available? We could just look and see.
Did you find, just thinking about time and balancing it, I'm hearing that you all had clients that literally were all over the world. And so finding a time, was that ever difficult with the international
No,
clients?
no, my client was based in Florida,
Okay.
so he was East Coast time, and I'm Central. So as long as you figure out the time zones, I think it's fine. You just make. He was extremely flexible as well, so that was a benefit for me. I was appreciative of that. I don't know what I would have done if someone would have said no. I'm only available on this day. I
Yeah.
try to figure it out, but yeah, the time zones. Once you figure it out, you're good to go.
Great. That's wonderful. Thank you. All right, Victoria, can you tell us what was your biggest takeaway from this micro internship experience?
Um, Prior to the experience, I was kind of dabbling with AI in my workspace. It's actually something that we offer a lot, and I was wanting to get more experience on it. So, yeah, just how HubSpot utilized the AI, wrapped it in with the marketing and just their platform in general was really, really helpful. And it gave me that experience that I could then translate into my current job, which was great and got me a lot of brownie points with the boss. So that always helps. And yeah, so that was my biggest takeaway was just being able to practice in the real world on both sides in the internship and with my actual, workplace.
I'm curious in your current position, with your job, how have you been able to integrate some of these AI tools within your job?
So I was able to come up with some marketing flyers for some of our sales reps. And one of the things that we offer is AI within textbooks. And I was able to do demos for customers with that just because I had more experience using it. So,
That's great. I think too, as we there's so many AI tools out there. I know that HubSpot has even made some advancements on the current tools they've had, and they've created new tools even just since this last cohort. Do you think that just even using those tools through HubSpot has made you more confident in using AI tools across maybe other platforms or companies?
oh, yeah, absolutely. I really loved uh, Dan, for those of you that have been in the internship, was really, really great about, showing us how to utilize AI within the HubSpot and just in general. Like, you have to learn how to speak to the AI to get what you're asking for out of it. And I've noticed that some AIs can be very particular and others just kind of go off the rails. So you got to kind of learn that language. And that was something that Dan really helped me hone in on.
I love to hear that. That's true. And that's a very good reminder. But unless you're really taught how to do that, it can be difficult. So that's great. Love to hear it. All right, Alyssa, just thinking for students that are joining us, looking back, what do you wish you would have known before starting?
I feel like because I had applied and I was on. I don't know if anyone else had this experience. I was on the wait list, and then the day they're like orientation starting was the day I got accepted, and I was at work. So I felt like for me it was kind of hard to prepare for it just because I didn't have enough time. Like they gave me time later on to prepare for it, like doing all the like online trainings with the HubSpot Academy. But just know, like, if you do get into it, you are gonna have to do a few trainings beforehand. They have a few recommendations to take, and it's pretty quick, but kind of time consuming if you on a time crunch, and you have to take tests prior to the internship. And if you get accepted like me last minute, you're gonna have to take the test during that week of the session. So I feel like for me, it was kind of hard to prepare for it. Um, for this go around for doing the events, I have that experience under my belt of knowing what to expect versus in going kind of blindly. Just being able to learn time management. I have the great schedule of work that every day is a different shift, and I have different days off every week. And I was being very sarcastic on it being great because it's kind of hard to do the internship while being at work. So just being able to be flexible and like talking to the people leading it, just letting them know like, hey, I'm not gonna be able to talk, but like still communicate during the chat. Just being able to learn like your time management and being able to like learn how to communicate with people through messaging versus talking. Because realistically, like someone had mentioned before, things could get lost in translation. You might try to sound really nice, and people will be like, "Oh, why is she being rude?" Like just because you're typing it, which is like understandable. So just like learning how to communicate through just messaging and just being able to like learn to be flexible and learn your time management. I feel like that's a huge thing that helped me prepare for this go around coming up soon. So that's like the main highlights I feel like that you'll like gain, not just like professionally, but like personally.
I really love that though, because I think that, like time management, being able to effectively communicate, like all of those skills, they are absolutely essential, whether it's in this micro internship, a future micro internship, or just jobs. And those are skills I feel like we can always improve. And so that's awesome to hear that through this experience, we were able to hone them a little bit further. That's great. All right, Sierra, we're going to pop it over to you. Can you tell us what was the most rewarding moment for you during the micro internship?
Sure. Absolutely the most rewarding moment in the whole internship was seeing my campaign delivered. It's like the final, whew, I did it. I could sit back, I could see it. It looks beautiful. I love it. My client, she didn't hold any cut cards. Constructive criticism was part of her character, and I appreciated that because she definitely she gave her feedback as far as what went well, what could be improved on. I also was granted the wonderful chance to have someone working with the same client as me. So between me and the other worker who was with me on, well, the other intern who was with me on the client, we just, we worked together as far as figuring out, okay, she said she likes this, she doesn't like that. Okay, for on yours, you do this, you switch that for you. I'm gonna switch this and this for me, and altogether, just seeing the fruits of the labor, it's indescribable. That's definitely my
That's
most rewarding experience.
absolutely, that's wonderful. And just kind of thinking about the topic of feedback, you said that your client was very eager to give feedback, if you will, or not afraid to hold back. Did you receive any feedback that was maybe hard to hear, or have any experience like that?
Oh, absolutely. As you grow and develop in life, of course, you come to understand that everyone's not gonna like, everything you produce. Sometimes it's just not gonna, meet the mark that the person was looking for, and that's okay. I think the biggest thing we can learn through experiences like this is resilience. And also not take things personally. Yes, my client did have, feedback for us, but it was never, with the intentions of harming or, maliciously. It was just so, this is her company, her baby. This is our project that we're contributing to her vision. So the goal was to make sure we delivered through with what she wanted us to deliver. But yeah, she did say some things that were, a little hard to hear, especially if you work like, 5, 6 hours on something just to hear none of this works and all of it's trash. She didn't say it like that, of course. But more so, hey, I didn't really like this part of the campaign. You can tweak that a little bit better. This doesn't really fit company branding. Those pieces of feedback were given to us, and it was appreciated, and we just used it to, grow, pivot, learn, and keep moving.
That's great. I really appreciate you sharing that, because I think anytime we get feedback, sometimes it can be hard to hear, and especially in a situation like that where you're really learning along the way. And then just have the confidence and also the recognition of, well, this isn't against me. This is a way to help me grow. And so I really appreciate you sharing that, Sierra. Thank you. All right, Shay. For all those students on the call that are thinking about this micro internship, what students would you, or excuse me, what advice would you give to other students considering this opportunity?
My advice would be to go for it. Um, do the thing that potentially is scaring you. If you have like a little fear, just try it. If you want to try anything, now is the time to do it. Coming from someone that I didn't have any marketing background, so I was terrified that they were going to ask me specific marketing questions, and like I don't have any experience in that, but I did dial into like a lot of the materials and the training resources that we had to kind of prepare myself. But ultimately, I would say just go for it. Do the thing that scares you. It gives you an opportunity to experiment, especially like in the fast-paced environment. Just extend your your work, your career path if you want to go. If you're thinking about it, if you need assurance that you're doing it, if you should go this route, I say go ahead and do it.
I love that. And I think you're totally right. I think oftentimes we second guess ourselves.
Hmm.
Um, Sometimes when you're nervous, it's just a sign that it's something that you care about. It doesn't mean that you're not capable or that you're scared. It's just something that matters to you. And so I love that.
It helps build your confidence, and it's a good reflector. It's gonna be times again in your life where you're gonna be afraid and you're gonna have doubt. You want to have something in your back pocket and you can say, I remember I did this and everything turned out okay. And or I learned this from it. So that's just how I
That's
view life.
great.
But yeah.
I love that. And I kudos to you, because I would be in the same situation, not having any marketing background, and I would probably feel the same. And so I think if Shay can do it, that's a really, really great reminder to everyone, even if you don't have
And
a marketing background.
my client gave me a great like LinkedIn recommendation, a post and things like that. So it was a proud moment. So yeah.
I love that. That's wonderful. Well done. All right. Victoria, if you had the chance to do the micro internship again, or another micro internship, what would you think you would do differently?
Well, I do have the chance to do another micro internship. I just got accepted to the advanced version of this internship, which I'm excited for. Um, like Alyssa, I, with this last internship, was notified the day of that it started. So I had no preparation whatsoever. So this time around, I'm going in with a little more of an idea of what to expect and what's expected of me. Aside from that, time management, I'm horrible at time management. However, this really pushed me to get better. And I think I found a system that works for me. So I'm going to put that to the test with this go around on the internship and we'll see how it works.
I love that. I think just with students, I think what's one of the things, like, no one is bad at time management. I think it's just a matter of finding a system that works for you. And so I really hope that works. And congratulations on getting accepted. That's really exciting. You'll have to let us know how that time management system's working too.
Oh, for sure.
All right. So we've got one final question. And so for those of us that have joined us, if you have any questions you'd like me to ask, feel free to pop them in the chat. And if you do want to ask a specific panelist, just be sure to include their name. So Shay, I'm going to start with you. How has the internship experience influenced your career path or future goals?
It helped me become a little bit more confident in the overall outcome and to not overthink things. Seeing your work firsthand and from a client facing perspective helps also energize me as a professional and to work toward and not to doubt myself on things and just give it a try. So it influenced me to actually try to learn more about marketing. I'm also doing the advanced one as well. So I'm like, hey,
Yay.
well, why not? So yeah, just thinking about different career paths and different ways that you can pivot because in this economy, in this world, you never know. So it's always good to have different things in your back pocket that you can leverage.
Absolutely. I really love that. I think that Shay, that's such a testament, I think, to this experience, you coming in with really no marketing background and then wanting to do the advanced. I think that shows just how much support is offered through the program and just what a great training and curriculum they have. So thank you. Thank you. All right, Alyssa, what about you? How has this influenced your career or your future goals?
I feel like that's why I always say I'm not getting paid. People always say I advertise it too much, but I'm the poster child for it sometimes. I feel like after the internship, I was very lucky to go to Inbound, like a HubSpot conference, as one of 7 learner correspondents nationwide. They paid for my ticket, which was amazing. Met some great people. Met for the people who did the internship, met Cheyenne. Great. Wasn't able to meet Dan, like the main person that led it, but I feel like that opened so many doors for me, being able to network and being able to see how HubSpot like works with so many different companies and putting myself out there. I always said I was a big fish. I felt like a little fish in a big pond. Imposter syndrome did kick in, but I have to remember like I meant to be here. I got accepted by doing the internship. Then getting accepted to do the learner correspondent, one of 7, which is crazy to think. I didn't think it was that big of a deal, but apparently it was huge. It was the first time they did it. So I feel like just being able to do the internship opened so many doors and being able to just have that on my resume, having like HubSpot on there, knowing that it's such a huge name in the software industry, I feel like that has allowed me to do a little bit more interviews and people be more interested and be like, okay, what was that about? Like, what was your experience like? Especially working with like an international client and be able to learn AI. People always say AI is easy. No, it's not. It's a lot harder than you think just because like you have to learn to word things a certain way. You can't just tell it to do something. Doing the internship, it taught me that you need to give them your ideas. It's not supposed to do your ideas, it's supposed to enhance your ideas. So I feel like that's one thing that was very important to learn that I didn't really like think about before. And then just being able to communicate, I told you it's a huge thing to me, being able to like learn how to communicate to AI, to a client, getting that real life experience. During my undergrad, it was during COVID, so I didn't really have that much hands-on experience. So being able to do my master's online, but being able to still meet with a real life client, the time difference was a huge thing just because if it was morning for me, it was night for him. So it was just very hard to like learn to navigate that, but just being able to learn so much different things, and now being able to do the advanced internship soon, I feel like it's just changed my life in a good way.
I love to hear that. That's incredible. I think that's also such a good reminder that you said that AI is not meant to like basically do the work, but rather enhance it. And I love that that this is really showing you how to do that, because I think you're totally right.
Yeah, I
Got to
feel
be
like
able to use the tool effectively.
with marketing, I've learned, because before I was anti AI. I was one of those people. Now I do use AI, but I feel like if you're trying to go into the marketing field, it's I feel like it's bad to say, but either you learn with it or you get left behind. Especially nowadays with like marketing, if you're like I'm pursuing digital marketing, so if you're pursuing everyone's always going to need something to market. Realistically, it's very competitive, very that I have learned over time. But as long as you're able to grow with it, I feel like that will help you advance in your career later on. And hopefully I'm able to advance soon.
I have no doubt you will. That's just such good advice, though, right? That's what they say is like you got to learn how to use these tools, just so that you're not replaced by them. Yeah. All right, Sierra, we're going to toss it over to you. How did this opportunity influence your career or your future goals?
Um, yeah, this internship, this opportunity enhanced my career and future goal projections in ways in which I didn't truly see possible. Just like Shay before me, I was not a marketing person at all. My bachelor's degree is in accounting. Like it wasn't, it wasn't the furthest thing from marketing, honestly, the furthest thing from creative and expressive. But I fell in love with this. With this field before I even actually dabbled into it completely. And this internship, having gone through this experience, it changed everything for me. Like, I now have two other internships that hired me solely off the fact that, I participated in this one. Plus, today, just like all the other panelists, I got accepted to the advanced micro internship, position as well. So I'm going to take that on as well because I love it. I love the drive. I love this experience. And had I not gone through this micro internship, I wouldn't have fully comprehended how much I enjoyed this aspect of marketing because there's more than one aspect. But I loved the marketing campaigns. I gained so much experience and confidence. Like imposter syndrome is real, but when you sit back and look at what you've created and what you've built, it's like I can't deny that. Like, yeah, I did that. Look, I did that. So yeah, I am grateful for this experience. It's helped me so far, and I even have a couple companies hitting me up today to see if I'm available, to take on extra projects. Like I said, I already have two, now three other internships, so I'm at capacity, but I wouldn't have these opportunities or this projection had I not gone through this micro internship. So I'm grateful.
I absolutely love to hear that. I love to hear that it's led to other opportunities. And when it leads to that full-time job, you just got to let me know. But I think that something that really resonated with me that you said was that it really helped you identify like what areas of marketing you really enjoyed. And I think sometimes these experiences, they can really help you see the areas you do enjoy and areas where you don't enjoy, because it's just as important to know, oh, I don't like doing that, right? But wow, what a switch, accounting to marketing, my goodness. All right, Victoria, last but certainly not least, how has this internship experience or micro internship experience influenced your career path or your future goals?
Coming into WGU, especially as an undergrad at my age, I'm a little up there. It's been well over 10 years since I've been in school. And to jump into something like this, as everybody has mentioned, imposter syndrome, it was difficult. I like a challenge though, and it really confirmed that I made the right decision. And I think that that's probably the biggest thing for me. So it solidified, what I want to do and my career path within the company that I'm at right now. Uh, Definitely gave me more goals with that, and they seem tangible now after doing this internship, and I love that the most.
That's wonderful. I think having that career clarity, that's one of the best things, right? You actually know the direction that you want to go, and you feel confident in being able to pursue that. That's wonderful. Love to hear it. All right, so that about closes off my questions. It looks like we have some questions in the chat, and so I'm just I'll ask them, and if you all kind of want to pop in as you see fit, if there's a certain question you really want to answer. And so Chris, thank you for your list. Love to see this engagement. What did support look like when you were working with a client? Because I think we're hearing, like HubSpot, you had the Slack channel, so you could reach out to the other students. You obviously could check out those recordings as you shared, Alyssa. Was there any other support that they provided?
There's office hours. There's standing office hours. I believe every last internship, it was every Thursday. So in the event you have any questions, you can bring them to the office hours and they will address and help you out and walk you through any questions that you may have.
That's great. Anything else anyone wants to add on that one? All right.
I'm sorry.
Yes, Sierra, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to also say that the program, the people who are instructing us, Dan and Cheyenne, they're available by email as well, just in case you don't want to do Slack. And you might miss office hour. If you have a specific question, you can always email them. Their inboxes are always open; they don't close. Whether or not they respond to you, immediately, will of course differ based on what their life has going on for them. But yeah, there's always support. You're never alone. Like if you open your mouth and ask for help, you're going to get it.
Love that. That's great.
And I'd
Yes.
like to add on a little bit to that.
Yes, please.
It's with Slack and then also with HubSpot. They have like their little AI, the chat AI.
Yes.
So if you're not able to reach out to Dan or Cheyenne, it's mostly Dan. He's the one that like does all the trainings, and Cheyenne is just there to just kind of like oversee it. He tried to get us into the habit of doing it, even though I know some of us, aka me, didn't do that all the time. If you have a question, you could just ask the chat. I think it was like Chat AI or Chatbot or something like that on Slack. He was able to program it for us. We'll ask the question, and then it will give us like a step by step, like literally how to like if you want to learn how to do a CRM, like if you need help doing that. Instead of rewatching the lesson, you could just ask the chat how to create a CRM for XYZ, and it'll give you a step by step how to do everything. And then if you don't want to use like Slack for that, it's also on HubSpot. I think it was in beta. I haven't used it since, so I'm like, hopefully it's a little bit better. But if not, when in doubt, I'm sorry. If you don't like Slack, you might have to get used to it, just because it's a lot easy for everybody.
It's a great skill too, just to have professionally as well, because I think most places, they have some type of communication platform like that, right?
Yeah, because with my client, he also used Slack for his company. So I had to get in the habit of using Slack just because I haven't used it since like my undergrad a little bit. So I'm like, okay, it's a lot easier than you think.
Yes. Yep. Love that. All right. And I think, Alyssa, you had shared before that all the training courses are recorded. Is that correct?
Yeah, all the training courses are recorded. Ideally, I think you do have to go to all of them. You can only miss one, I want to say. Don't quote me on that. But as long as you're able to communicate with the instructors, just letting them know prior, and you do have to do like a attendance sheet for each time you go. But like I mentioned, like for me, the time didn't work with my lifestyle, and it still doesn't. So I'll probably just listen to it kind of like a podcast and then just watch the recording later. And then I feel like the recording did help me be able to like go on my computer and do like step by step. So just being able to have everything recorded at any time, if you have a question, you could probably just find your answer pretty quickly. And you do get all the slideshows. They give you like a whole Google Doc of like each lesson of what you're going to be doing and your expectations and any homework you have. And so you're able to like, if you don't want to watch the recording, you're able to go to the slide deck and then be able to find like the link.
Great. That's awesome. That's wonderful to be able to rewatch the recording too. That's wonderful. All right. And then is there an option to work with a different intern, or is it mostly individual work? And so this actually depends on the number of clients that HubSpot has. because they go out and recruit different, employers or clients to work on these projects. And so it kind of depends on the number of employers they have. And so sometimes it might be the case where you actually have a partner like Sierra did. Otherwise, you might be working on your own. I'm not sure if you can have a preference on that. I'm sure that when you start the intern or the micro internship, if you ask Cheyenne about that, I'm sure she'd be able to provide support for that. And then you have all been accepted to the advanced AI micro internship, which again, congratulations, that's wonderful. We'll just do another panel here in a few months so we can hear about that. What is the selection process for that? Does that look much different than the standard AI micro internship?
I
I'm like,
don't
oh,
know about everybody else, but for me, I received an email stating, hey, you're invited to apply for the advanced version. And I was like, okay, cool. So for me, it was as simple as that. But my understanding is you have to do the first micro internship to be considered for the advanced version.
Great.
yes, I'll agree with that. And then I believe if you want, I think when I was looking at the landing page for it, like on their website, I believe you're able to do the the first internship, like this one that we're talking about. I believe you're able to redo it if you're not able to do the advanced one at the time. You just can't do them at the same time, just because it's a lot of work.
Yes. Yep. That's exactly right.
Um,
Thank you.
to
Thank you.
add
Thank you.
on, to add on to
Yes,
both answers
please.
real quick, it's just by invitation. That's the only thing I'd like to point out. The advanced one is by invitation. The general one is just sent out as free, open to everyone.
Yep. I think it's just certain programs. Yep. And I can put that list in the chat too. That's great context. Love that. All right. I'm not sure if any of you have had interviews. I know, Sierra, you mentioned that you had some internships after this. Not sure if that included interviews. But how did you position this internship, if I could speak, in interviews, if you've had an interview?
Um, I believe for me, I played to the strengths of so I did have a couple of interviews, of course, because they want to know what you learned throughout the course of the internship. But I played to the strengths of, what we used, what we learned, and how we did it. And of course, when you get into it, you'll have like the specific keywords that employers are looking for. But their first indicator that you could be someone they'd want to work with is the fact that you just put HubSpot experience on the resume. After that, just be willing to explain what you did and, how you did it. And it's not, difficult or extensive. It's just, they're going to be looking for certain things that you did or did not do. And then they'll ask questions, like I was asked, how good are you with email marketing? Okay, not my strongest suit, but I can do it. So yeah, the to summarize it in an interview process, you just remember what you learned and truly you show them what you delivered in the campaign.
That's great. And I would just always emphasize, we want to make sure you use that STAR method. So what was the situation or task? What was the action? What did you do? And then what was the result?
And then
Shane,
can
you
I
have something
add
to
on
add?
to that?
Yeah,
Yes, real
I was
quick,
going to
because
add
we're
on
getting
to that.
close on
Okay,
time. And Shay, you'll go next.
you're able to learn a lot of different things throughout the training. I feel like one thing that I wish my client did a little bit more was he only wanted social media posts and blogs. So I wasn't able to have the opportunity to do more email campaigns or landing pages or like kind of work with CRM. So for me, like when I do job interviews and like on my resume, I try to highlight that most of my experience is promotions or social media. So just looking for jobs that fall into that realm, just because I didn't have the opportunity to learn everything else. I just have the basics, but I would never say ask me questions about it because I'm not there yet. So just like highlighting, like Sierra has said, like highlighting what you actually did, and maybe you have to do like a slide deck. So like maybe highlighting your portfolio in that way too.
I'd love that. Yep, making sure to add to the portfolio. Love that, Alyssa. Great call out. And Shay.
Yeah, I was just going to add toward the end of the internship, Cheyenne and I think another representative from HubSpot, they do provide you with like a snippet and or like information about what you've actually learned, and it helps you kind of like format your resume to help you prep for any event you have interviews. So there are resources that they provide you after the internship as well.
Well, Shay, I'm so happy that you shared that because I'm actually the lucky one who's got to create those.
Oh,
And we,
okay.
yes, so I'm so thrilled to hear that they're helpful. And I do offer actually a session when everyone completes the micro internship, just kind of walking them through, how do you add this to your resume? How do you add it to your LinkedIn? How do you cultivate those connections you've made? How do you speak to it in an interview? And so that session is recorded too. And so it just kind of walks through like that career piece of it and making the most of it. So Shay, I just love to hear that. My day has been made, my week maybe. All right. Next question, how has this led to other opportunities other than networking? I think Sierra kind of shared she's gotten some interest from just different internships she's had. Victoria, I think are you off? No, you're not off mute.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
there we
was
go.
going to say I was just able to continue to work with one of the clients. That turned out to be more of like a personal thing than professional, just because I started working with them in the sense not only with their marketing, but creating my own podcast and vlogging with them about, my husband and I do a lot with cigars. So we have like the cigar session of their lifestyle page. And so that's an opportunity I never would have been able to have had it not been for this internship. And so it's really cool that you can end up finding things like that.
Love that. Thank you for sharing. That's cool. Anyone else? All right, Sierra, I'm going to pick on you if I can, just because I'm curious. You've mentioned that you've gotten some other internships. Have you been applying for these internships or have people been reaching out to you directly?
I've honestly been being tracked down. I believe it had a lot to do with the panel I did with you originally with Destiny and I. But I've been having people reach out to me and inquire with me about the positions that they have. That's actually how I landed the two that I'm working at right now. They find me on Handshake. Well, of course, there's always the companies that send the regular invitations. Hey, I have an internship available for you. But it's something different when they're like, hey, this is what I noticed about you. I need to interview you directly. And then of course investigation works wonders as well. But yeah, I had them reach out to me. It was a great great thing to see. But I think it had a lot to do with the panel. So panelists, we can be looking for good things in the future.
Yes. Just even adding like HubSpot into the skills section of your LinkedIn, you never know how a recruiter might, just use those skills sections to be able to search for candidates. Well, we're just about at time. We've got one more question here, and I think it's a great question to kind of wrap us up. So I know we have the HubSpot micro internship available for WGU. Outside of that, where's a good place to find other similar micro internships? And so for other micro internship opportunities that are like this, I will say that at the moment, we don't quite have anything. However, I will say that WGU is putting a lot of effort into providing more opportunities like this. And so I would say stay tuned. I would also really encourage you to go check out the internships and experiential learning page on the careers.edu or wgu.careers.edu website. I think I got to check to make sure I actually got that right here. One moment. But there's lots of great resources on there that can help you find internship opportunities. Let me pop that into the chat. But like I said, we are really looking to identify ways for students to gain more of these opportunities because we know that getting experience is absolutely essential, especially in today's market. And so keep an eye out. Keep an eye on your email. And I'm sure your program mentor will keep you posted as well. But there's that website there. I will say that there is we have a session on Saturday. If you want to go to the events page on the careers website, and it's just a basic overview of all things internships, and we talk through micro internships that are offered through Parker Dewey. So if you're interested in learning more about that, I would definitely encourage you to join. And I'm going to add a previous recording about those micro internships through Parker Dewey in case you are interested in applying. I would definitely recommend checking them out. And then with that, I think that we are at time. Let me course, we got the video going. Here we go. But truly, panelists, I thank you so much. Your insight is so valuable. I am so happy to hear that this was such an incredible experience. I've learned a lot from you. And I wish you all the very, very best in the advanced AI and hope that maybe we can reconvene after that experience. Thank you so much for all those that joined and for your questions and engagement. And I hope you all have a wonderful evening. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Bye. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Take care.